Okay, test checking, test 1 2. Let me fix my microphone. Test checking, test. All right. Hope everybody is well today on this Tuesday eve of Andor episode 11 dropping in just several hours from now at 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12 a.m. Pacific, as we prepare for yet definite, I want to say, even though it might be hard, hopefully another grand and great episode this coming week. As always, stream will only go as long as, people show up in the comments and chat with me. But we'll see. We will see. We will see what happens coming in several hours. But I wanted to go live today. Originally I was up in the air about it, but because we had the announcement yesterday, and because this article that just got pushed out through the direct talking about Andor, something specific that it was talking about, I was like, I just wanted to dive into it a little bit. The stream is probably going to go hopefully an hour, but again, it all depends on who pops into the comments, because again, these streams will only go as long as they can, will go, as long as there's engagement and stuff like that. And people, of course, are enjoying themselves with me in conversating about whatever Star Wars, anything and everything. Give me a moment. But again, hope everybody is doing well today. And anybody who watches the stream later on the replay, you are more than welcome to leave some comments in the comment section, and we can discuss things later. Because I read practically almost every comment that comes through all of my videos and streams and stuff. So I try my best to respond to all comments, depending on what people say. But most of the comments I respond to, even if it's a couple of hours or a few hours later. Just posting this on social media. Excuse me. Okay, so let's get started. I'm just gonna talk and chat. Anybody can jump in the comments whenever. So yesterday, throughout the morning. Wait. No, was that yesterday? Or was that today? Because I'm getting my days all mixed up. But either way, we had found out that, Andor had, first and foremost, had done such a great job. Episode 10 last week. Many people were talking about it, seen a lot of comments in my videos, watching other content creators talking about episode 10 and what it did, what it meant to the show, to Star Wars itself. Many people were making what I like to call guesses and assumptions on what episode 10 will bring to the table when it's pertaining to Star Wars as a whole. And of course, there are those people out there who I actually still support those opinions, who feel like even with people saying that they've been like trudging along with watching this show, and they arrive to episode 10, and they are like saying like their responses are, it took 10 episodes. It shouldn't have taken 10 episodes to get this specific moment that many fans have enjoyed when watching this show. But I personally just feel like, if you kind of stuck it out, whether you liked, loved, thought the show was boring, probably even hated it, if you watched up to this point, you kind of might as well just finish the next 2 weeks. Just, I mean, there are people that have literally told their friends, like they literally watched up to 6 episodes, just didn't catch them. Then they told them, at least by this 10th episode, hey, you might as well just knock out these next 4. And then they do, and they're just like, their responses are varied as always. I'm trying to find a different song to play, even though we're just having a chill stream. And I, personally just sit back and I'm like, like I said, people do have a right, to have, to have their opinions, to voice it, to, to feel the way that they feel. I've had various people leaving comments in my videos talking about how, Andor just isn't good or great or whatever. And, I'm just like, that's okay. They're allowed to have that mindset. As long as people aren't attacking each other, they're having as civil as a conversation as possible, it should be fine. But this specific thing with the announcement for Andor going mainstream, and it's just interesting that I'm gonna pull the image up if I can do so. It's interesting enough that they decide to do this. I know I put this in the community tab. Let me see what I'm working with here. Because I done posted so much stuff. I've scheduled some stuff to go up. So yeah, that was yesterday. Let's see. Where are you? This is it here. Yeah, that's it right there. I'm gonna remove myself from the thing here, and I'm gonna fix it. Now that's interesting that this thing that I took, I literally took it, and hold on, let me see. There we go. Not the best, but maybe I can just squeeze it this way, maybe. That's the best that I can do. But yeah, I sit back and I watch, and we see that this got talked about yesterday. I'm just gonna make it bigger again. Just say screw it. We get this announcement November 23rd, 24th, and 25th, and it's supposed to be available on these mainstream places, sites, whatever, for roughly a week and a ish, right? It was from my perspective, it's interesting that they would go this route, because like I said in the community tab, that I sat back and I was just like, my response was, what is the end result for doing something like this? And the other question that you gotta wonder is, why would they basically go the route how they originally planned for us on Disney Plus, when last year when they made the announcement about the show and its debut, when they said that they were going to be giving us the first 2 episodes before August of this year came about, and they had Ian McDermott go on. Ewan go on a specific trailer and tell us, like, we're pushing this back to September and we're going to push out the first 3. And because of the result that they did that, we find that the show had gained so much more of a following from those of us fans who loved not just the first episode, not just the second, but definitely the third, because there was a good key of action in the third episode, when episodes 1 and 2 were dialogue heavy, and then we didn't know what else was going to be transpiring as far as Andor was concerned, as far as story, as far as plot, as far as characters, the development of the characters. We didn't know how this show was going to flow, because what we got in these trailers were very action-y heavy, and a lot of fans are upset that basically they felt like they felt that they were basically duped, bamboozled, because the trailers perceived something that the show technically isn't about. It's not action heavy. It's more dialogue heavy. It's more character based, more conversing amongst people, amongst key characters, more than it is about action, about stuff that a good portion of Star Wars is about. We know that Star Wars is about the Jedi. It's about the Sith. It's about action. There is some very specific conversations that these characters have, but there is a specific mixture of the two, and a lot of fans have been saying that they kind of got tired of these specific Force-centered stories, and because Andor has gone a totally different route, basically the Force being non-existent at all in the show, that fans are saying that this show is not Star Wars. But me personally, I rebuttal and say that it is Star Wars, because there are shows out here that are like, there are specific Star Wars stories, comic book and in regular books as well, that don't have the Force in it at all. And those books, those stories are beautiful. So Andor being pushed out, like I said, they're giving these people who don't have Disney Plus, they're giving them the first 2 episodes. And I kind of question, why why not just do 3 episodes, like how they did with us on Disney Plus. An interesting tactic for sure, but I feel like for those fans who haven't watched the show, who've heard various mixtures of people saying that it's good or great, or it's bad, it's boring, could this possibly not bring what I feel and many other fans feel, bring new subscribers to Disney Plus? I'm just not sure that would be the case with just the first 2 episodes, just specifically. That is what I feel. And I'm just wondering, like, is this all they're going to show fans? Are they going to give them 2 more episodes? Or up to 6 episodes and say, hey, if you want more, go subscribe to Disney Plus? Or are they just going to do that for these 2 episodes here? Isaac, what's going on? That's true too. That is very true too. And that's the other thing that you kind of wonder and question. Why did they do this with Andor? Why didn't they do this with Boba and Kenobi? Is it because Andor, per this data that's been being pushed out in these ratings and all of that, over the past 2-3 weeks and saying how Andor isn't. How are you do? Hope you're doing well. Andor isn't doing the numbers that they were hoping for. Is this just to get people to watch the show so that they can gain the numbers that they wanted, that they originally wanted from Disney Plus? I'm just curious, because again, why didn't they do this with, even if it wasn't the Book of Boba Fett, why didn't they do this with Kenobi? It's because they want to get those sweet Emmy nominations. That too. And we can agree that there are specific key actors in the show that we feel definitely deserve at least some nominations per what they brought to these characters. So it could be important, yes. That is true. Now, me, I don't watch award shows. I stopped watching them years ago. So I was like, I don't necessarily care. But, for those actors, actresses, and the like, those specific people who poured their heart and soul in these characters, they do deserve to be shown a thing of gratitude, even if it's in the form of an award. And my hope is that Skarsgård, that Circus will receive the recognition that they truly deserve. Denise Gove truly deserve, in my opinion. I honestly believe that they do indeed deserve the recognition for what they poured into this show. Even with many fans of Star Wars saying that the show is bad. Because again, like I said, many fans feel like it shouldn't have taken 10 episodes for the show to get this moment. You would probably mention episode 3, definitely episode 6. You would want to mention these things. But, from our perspective, for those of us who run to Disney Plus and with bated breath, waiting patiently to hit play on the next episode, I feel like our minds, our thoughts on this show also too plays a key role in this. And when they sit down again, and of course the rumor is that they are getting ready to shoot season 2 next week on the 21st, if I remember. And that of course will be waiting a whole year. So basically 2024, probably early 2024 is when we will actually get season 2, if the rumor is true that that's the case, that the production will begin next week. There is this article from the Direct that's talking about how there's going to be a shift from how season 1 is compared to season 2. There was something interesting in this article, various things, but something interesting that this article had talked about that I wanted to discuss. And it's right here. Let me pull away. And let me just pull this up. Again, it's from the Direct. I can't make the screen wide or anything, I don't think. Let me see. Maybe I can just a tad. That's as best as I can do. So per the Direct, this was pushed out today of November 15th, 2022. Article was written by Russ Meeham. as I was reading this, there was something interesting a little bit midway and then towards the bottom that I was just like, huh. Because it also ties into, what we're talking about with it, with the show going to, to Hulu, to FX and stuff like that for these 2 episodes. So it says, according to the producer of Andor, Tony Gilroy, upcoming second season of the show is going to be quite different. He used the keyword "quite different" because that's what the article used the title for, than what the world is watching now. Much to the surprise of many, the Disney Plus series following Cassian Andor, Rogue One, has been phenomenal for many. In fact, lots of people have claimed it to be one of the best pieces of Star Wars storytelling ever. There are those people that they leave comments on my videos. They say, I read them all the time, and it gets me excited, and I respond in my exciting way. And the people are saying that this is the best stuff ever. There are YouTubers out there that they have a field day with Andor, talking how bad it is. And there are people leaving comments saying that they're saying the same things. Like, dude, like these YouTubers are saying that this isn't Star Wars. Andor isn't Star Wars. And there are people leaving live comments saying that actually it is Star Wars. Because like I said, there are stories out there in the Star Wars universe that isn't in live action form, that isn't in animated form, that doesn't have the Force attached to it, doesn't have space battles, lightsabers. And Andor, to those specific people, still is indeed, it still has the feel and the function of Star Wars. Still family oriented, because that's what George says. Just quoting George, right? And then it goes on to say, previously it has been revealed while the first 12 episodes of the show will cover the span of a year, we knew that for sure. The next batch, which begins filming, will explore the next 4. It's that unique shift in storytelling structure which will help, at least in part, make the final half of the Andor series very different from the first. And we move on to something very interesting that Tony had talked about recently. This is what it said. In an interview with Rolling Stone, Andor producer Tony Gilroy discussed how season 2 of his hit show will differ from the first season. To start, the filmmaker noted that having a 5-season run, which was the original plan, would have been physically impossible. Now, I personally did not know that it was supposed to be a 5-season run. As far as I knew, when the information was getting pushed out, that Andor was only supposed to be a 2-season thing. Roughly 24, 25 episodes in total. Like 12 the first season, 12 or 13 the next season. They were talking about originally here, he says, Tony being quoted and saying that the original plan would have been physically impossible for a 5-season run. How would they be able to apply more stuff? Because now, again, they're cramming 4 seasons into 1 extra season. And from this specific quote at the top here, Tony is saying basically they were going to be working on expanding the show in each year, basically leading into Rogue One. How Rogue One was leading into A New Hope. So it would be the total of 5 years. It would have been 5 shorter seasons, and that's actually sounds like, for it to be a 5-show run, definitely would be shorter. I can understand that aspect. So definitely maybe 7 or 8 episodes in total, maybe 6. Because we know that for the most part, a lot of Disney Plus shows, like in Marvel and in Star Wars, a lot of them have only been 6 episodes. And I feel like for me personally, I feel like we've kind of gotten spoiled with them giving us 12 episodes of this show. There are certain spots in these past 10 episodes, or certain spots of the show that, from my viewing of each episode, there were certain spots that didn't click for me right away. I had to watch the episodes a couple of extra times to really see what the writers and the actors were really trying to portray with these characters in these scenes, because I didn't know where the needle was being moved when it was trying to really connect everything back on its linear path of the plot. So with them, with Tony talking about this being 5, going from 5 to 2, again, they're literally cramming the next 4 years into one whole season, and we got basically an entire year in one season, basically in this first season here, or roughly maybe 6 months, 8 months, roughly, as each of the three episodes transpired, and then these specific arcs completed, and then moving into the next one. Tony then goes on to say, so it just would have been physically impossible. We were about to start shooting the second season second half in a month, so we've been prepping for the whole last year. There's 2 directors in Pinewood Studios in the UK that are prepping right now, and I'm getting ready to go over there and trying to get all our scripts together. And he continued explaining how the final season will be very different, and that he hopes that it will make the meal feel really satisfying. He didn't say taste satisfying though, right? He said it would feel satisfying. Let's see, Isaac, you say, and that could have been a big problem for reusing, for example, the Ferric sets between season 1 and season 3. Yeah, definitely. It's there has to be literally be a clear cut thing when it's pertaining to stuff like this. If they were originally planning to do 5 whole years, basically 5 whole seasons, like, the story had to really fully connect. And again, that is hard, because that's a lot of, like you said, you're reusing sets and stuff. You're tearing apart sets to apply new sets, and then tearing them back down to reapply the old sets. That's a lot. And there's no guarantee that all actors will be able to come back within that 5-year time frame. Who knows what actor schedules are going to look like, even though they have signed this contract for this show. They may have other obligations as well, because they've probably gained some awards over the course of whenever these award shows start to happen, and then they start getting phone calls from specific people and directors and saying, hey, we want you to be a part of our stuff now. Then next thing you know, well, maybe can't be in all of the episodes of Andor now for season 2, because I'm gonna be over here now. But making it 2 long seasons reusing Ferrics between 1 and 3 and 11 and 12 is much easier. It really is, and that's the truth. It really is the truth. So it does work, but it's gonna be interesting to see, again, even how they're talking about what Tony was talking about here. It's gonna be interesting to see how they cram 4 years into a 12 or 13 episode final second season. Tony then goes on to finalize and saying, I'm hoping we're going to do in the second half will make the meal feel really satisfying, because the first year is really about him becoming, and the last line of this branch of the 12 episodes will sum up where we've been trying to get to. And we come back a year later, it'll be very different. The next 4 years of the story are not about becoming a revolution. Interesting wordage there. They're about learning to be a leader, and about how difficult it is to put the alliance together, and what happens to people who are the original gangsters versus the establishment, and a lot of different other issues. Very interesting words that Tony uses there when he talks about the next 4 years of the story are not about becoming a revolutionary. That is a very interesting statement there. because a lot of us have been talking about how, we felt like, with Kino, we didn't want to lose him, and it seems like we sort of did, but we don't know for sure because, kind of in a sense, nobody know that. That's the verbiage that we use in the anime community, because I watch anime a lot. Bring my camera back up. We use that verbiage a lot. Nobody know death in the anime community, because we didn't see the end result of Kino's full story. Because I talked about this in last week's stream, where I said that Andy Serkis had said that Kino was actually the character himself. They actually allowed him to make up Kino's story outside of prison. Kino is a character who's just a family man. He has a family. He would be a person that goes to work every single day, does his job, does his 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, 16 hours, and then comes home to his family and to be a husband and to be a father. So Kino is a very routine character. So we, per what we saw at the end of episode 10 last week, that possibly may not be the final end all be all for Kino's story, but we don't know for sure if the character will even be brought back in episode 11 in several hours from now, or episode 12, or even in season 2. The hope is that he will be, because I feel like I talked about last week, I feel like that they could ultimately just have his character not get taken out, but have his sentence be prolonged. He had 249 days before he was going to get let out. Maybe they add an extra 249 or whatever, 300, 400, whatever the case. They just prolong his sentence and he continues. Maybe make him a regular. Take away his demote him from being a manager on 5D. So again, the hope is that, Kino does get to continue his life's story in a different way. Maybe Kino gets out. Maybe, because a lot of people, I know I put in a tab about, it was so easy for them to have a floaty thrown down into the water or attached to him. I know a lot of fans were saying there had to be people that possibly could have, helped him escape anyway, pushed him in the water, and they took turns to swim him to shore. But still, that is still a lot of weight to carry in the water, from my own perspective, because I know I can't swim, and I wonder, could somebody or a bunch of people be able to do that for me? I think somebody else was saying something specific too about that, about them maybe floating on somebody's back or something. I can't remember specifically. It's in the comments on one of my videos. I was reading that, I think, yesterday, because I keep getting comments on a lot of my videos over the past roughly 2 weeks, since like episode 8 and up to this point, episode 10. So again, maybe possibly that does indeed occur for Kino. It's just that they just showing him just standing back and just like, oh, it's it's a wrap. J Money, what's going on? How are you? Hope you're doing well today. Welcome to the stream. I think it's cool if they let characters die. It brings a realistic feel to Star Wars that is rare besides the prequel trilogy. It does have a specific I lost my train of thought. It does have a specific it does something specific to us, the watcher, especially if we really like or love that character. It brings specific emotions out of us because we're not expecting specific characters to be gone. Kino said what he said last week. You might as well consider me dead. Luthen said something specific last week. Yeah, that whole 2+ minute scene between him and Lonnie. When characters say this stuff, you're just sitting back like, no. Especially your favorite ones. You're just like, no, that's not what I want. That's not what I'm expecting to happen to you, one of my favorites. I'm expecting you to live. I'm expecting you to continue as far as you can. But again, it's not up to us. We're not the writers of these characters. I think Andor, like Game of Thrones, shows you need lots of characters so you can kill them. They should continue this. They can, and of course they will. But I honestly feel like characters should at least be able to have a bit of breath when it's pertaining to character. Very random thought. Cassian knows how to pilot the Fondor. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. He does know how to pilot. They use that as an advantage. But at the same time, that's what he was hired for too. It was hard to do that, right? Or no, he was just hired to be another stand-in. Because of the situation, he needed to step in and pilot the ship at the time because Namek had gone down. Give me one moment, guys. Give me a moment. I'll be back in like a couple of minutes or something. Give me a moment. Okay, sorry for the delay and the wait. All of that. Had family come in. I heard a key turn in my front door, and I'm like, who's this coming in the house? It's family just stopping by. All right, let's see. Isaac, you said, and the thing is, ESB is maybe 50% or 100% better than the original way than the retcon way. The brilliance of writing is largely lost. I feel like this story of Andor that is outside of the scope of the Force, that is outside of the Skywalker saga. It still connects with many of us, because the writing, many people, like you, like Isaac, and others are saying, many of us are saying, the writing is it's like almost perfect. The characters, these specific characters that play a key role in this show, is like the acting is almost perfect. A lot of these characters mesh well when they're having the dialogue that they have in the various conversations that they have with each other. It still just fits. Stuff is just tying together. But I wish that the fans that didn't like the show, who may have possibly came back, rewatched 3 or 4 episodes that they missed out on to get to episode 10. I wish that those fans were fans that had a mind of patience, an open mind to take in the dialogue. Because there were literally there were people, the first 5 episodes, 6 episodes, that were talking when I'm watching these specific YouTubers do live streams about the show, and people were saying in the comments like, hey, if you feel like Andor isn't for you or is too slow, go watch House of the Dragon. Go watch that. Let's see how you feel after watching that compared to Andor. Let's see. I was expecting backstory of prisoners like we had on Aldani. Nope, no backstory for any of them. Yet we still cared for them. Yes. Somebody said something specific in this one stream, and I can't remember the actual wording for it, but I'm just gonna paraphrase. Somebody said specifically that they, these characters here, when we're talking about the prison break itself, there are characters that are supposed to be bad, but they're good in your eyes, and there are characters that are supposed to be good that are bad in your eyes. In this moment, in the diaspora of episode 10 itself, that's how good and great the writing for episode 10 was, because you were rooting for the people that possibly did some very bad stuff, and there was a reason why they were behind bars, but you were rooting for them to get out. And you were despising the guards and stuff like that. You were relishing in the guards cowering in fear. Like, that's how great the writing for episode 10 was last Wednesday. And I'm just like, man, that's why I'm saying, like, can people who don't have patience, can people have a mindset of a focus of at least wanting to allow a plot or story or arc to build? Can people allow that to occur? People have a right to choose to not to continue to watch the show. However slow scenes are, conversations are, dialogue and all of that, non-action, all of that, people have a right to turn away. But that's why I just, I wish that, because I tell friends all the time, or even co-workers or workers at my job, when I'm recommending shows and stuff, I tell them, like, hey, just give it 4 or 5 episodes. At least allow the plot to build up. At least allow the characters to show you who they are. Because a lot of, now in this day and age, many people need instant gratification. They need that first episode, those first 10 minutes of an episode to really get them and grasp them, to reel them in. And that has occurred for me. It has. But there are also other shows and stuff where I've needed more than one episode, 2, 3, 4, that I really needed the plot to really build. And I feel like if the fans that are instant gratified, that need instant gratification, I feel like if they could sit down and really just watch 5 episodes, 6 episodes, and they allow the story to build, maybe possibly it will help them grasp for what the writers were trying to do. It was reported that the last 2 episodes of the show, episodes 11 and 12, were written by Tony Gilroy. J Money said, do you think it can be successful in TV without saber fighting and constant instances of fighting? Yes. But we know that Star Wars is mostly about the Force, mostly about Sith, mostly about Jedi, mostly about lightsaber duels. We know that to be a fact. We know that we've picked up, I've recently started reading comic books. I recently started reading Star Wars comic books. But book-wise, I've read so many. But we know that a lot of the books that were out were Force-based. There's many other stories out there that don't have the Force in it, that those stories are still great. But we know that per what George visioned it, he visioned it as the Skywalker saga, lightsaber duels, space battles, all of that, but there was still a good or great story to be told through all of that. And I feel like these specific stories like Andor, if we get more of this, maybe this will help people to understand that you don't need the Jedi, you don't need the Sith, you don't need Emperor Palpatine, you don't need Vader, you don't need Luke, you don't need the Skywalker saga to be the mainstay of a universe. Because again, it's the Star Wars universe is just that. It's a universe centered around any and everything, not just the Force, not just the Jedi, not just the Sith. There are planets out there that don't have the Force on it at all. Stories that are being told and plots that are being told that don't have any space battles in it. And it's just like it still grasps you, it still captures your heart. So that's why I'm saying, that's why I keep saying Star Wars, the Star Wars universe, even per the channel and the name that I named it, Star Wars universe, it truly is unlimited. And then the universe itself is not for everybody, but everybody who is a fan of this universe can pick and choose what they like about the universe. They don't have to pick everything because it's an option. They can pick from this story, this plot, this character, these places. They have an unlimited amount to grasp on. Me, I grasp on everything because I'm just a fan of the universe itself. So that's why I'm saying people are allowed to feel how they feel about the show. Even though I wish that they would just, give it a chance. At least just give it a chance so they can really fully have an opinion about Andor. So, but like I said, Gilroy said, was been reported that Gilroy have written episodes 11 and 12, and he had some other people working with him. Had some other people working with him for episodes 11 and 12 for the finale. The question 2, and I think I did ask this question, can episode 11 for tonight, well, technically several hours from now, and even episode 12, will it live up to what episode 10 did? That's going to be the real question for us moving forward. Captain Johnsby, how are you? Welcome to the stream. I had to have the same arguments with people back when I posted on Star Wars Battlefront forums. Don't know if you played those games. I haven't played those games. But what you're saying, I can understand. But so many people talking about how the game needs more heroes, more sabers, etc. I understand. Again, that's what many of us fans in the universe have been used to. That's what we've been shown. But there definitely are stories out there that just haven't been told in animation form, in live action form, cinematic form, that I feel like that they could do. I feel like, honestly, guys, I feel like Andor is a test run. That's what I feel. Is a test run to see, can the show live, breathe, and expand the universe outside of the Force, outside of the Skywalker saga. I feel like this is just a test. I feel like that it's living up to the hype, even though the data isn't portraying, the results that they've been wanting, and probably why they decided to push this out to the mainstream so that people can watch and then gravitate them towards Disney Plus. I feel like this tactic, this strategy is interesting. It could still backfire, basically because they're only showing the first 2 episodes and not the third one. So that's why I'm just like, we got the first 3 episodes. Why couldn't they have given people who don't have Disney Plus and they're showing it on Hulu, on FX, why couldn't they give them episodes 1, 2, and 3 as well? And because I feel like those people who don't have Disney Plus are going to probably watch Andor, these first 2 episodes. I feel like they deserve episode 3 as well. Why not? And again, like I said at the beginning of the stream, will they do, because it's supposed to go from the November 23rd to December 7th, are they giving people just the first 2 episodes and just replaying them over that span of time? Are they giving people 4 episodes, 6 episodes at max, and then saying, hey, if you enjoyed these 6, come over here to Disney Plus, or come back to Disney Plus, resubscribe, and finalize by watching these last 6 episodes? It's just an interesting tactic that I wonder, I question, I ponder, in hopes that Andor can continue to be successful in our eyes, but hopefully show people that it is a show that has room to breathe, and it can capture you. It can capture y'all. Andor versus Kenobi. What's the better show, in my opinion? Your opinion? Andor all day. Just being honest. And I'm a fan of the Force. I'm a fan of Kenobi. I'm a fan of Vader. But there were specific things in the show that Andor is doing that the Kenobi show just wasn't. There were a couple similarities that they did between the two, but Kenobi, in those 6, that's the thing. It's 6 episodes for Kenobi. And we will be ranking the episodes for sure here on the channel. I'll be doing a live stream on that once at least for the first season. Then we'll do a ranking stream for the second season, and then we'll do another stream of ranking all episodes from 1 to 24, 25. So there are things that both shows do differently that I can say, this was a little bit better, this wasn't, or whatever. But Andor, for me, again, I was still running to watch Kenobi. Definitely J Money. I was running to watch Kenobi. I was. But there just were certain things, and you were questioning, like, why did they do this? Why did they have this person do that? Why did they do, you know what I mean? Andor, you are questioning things, but you're just like, okay, I understand why they did it, because you had to rewatch the episode. You still did it for Kenobi, but some stuff just still didn't click. And you know what I mean? Like, and that's the thing, I would still recommend people to watch Kenobi. if they hadn't watched it. That's the other thing. And if you knew about, if you also heard about the guy that did his own edit of the film, he edited out a good portion of key things that happened in the original 6 episodes. He edited out, made it into his own little thing before it got blocked. He had pushed it out on, I think, Twitter or something like that, or just social media, period. He had put out his little bit over 2-hour film of Kenobi as a whole, and that thing was put together beautifully. Like, so freaking beautifully. And I feel like for Kenobi, had they done it the way this guy did it, it would have done better. I'm just being honest. And I feel like probably those of you who watched it probably may feel the same way, but then you may not. I don't know. But I'm talking about myself from my perspective. So, we'll see. And will this person or other people probably do the same for Andor? Will they take some things, cut some stuff out? I'm questioning things. I'm wondering, could it happen? Because this show, and I'm also, guys, I'm cold because my heat is not on currently. It's just not that time yet. Don't want to raise my gas bills just yet. But I'm just, like I said, I'm just like really just like curious about this tactic, guys. I'm wondering and questioning how this will go, because I'm probably going to do another stream about this once these episodes drop. I'm gonna probably look to see what the reactions are from the people that don't have Disney Plus or drop Disney Plus prior to this occurring, and seeing what their feedback is, and then we'll probably do a stream about it, talking about their people's responses and reactions. Because again, guys, I'm just a person who is not who doesn't feel like if a person has a difference of opinion of mine, that their opinion is lesser than my own. You're your own individual person. At the end of the day, your opinion technically only matters to yourself. You're just sharing it with the world. But I feel like in any fandom, not just Star Wars itself, I just feel like people get to a place where they feel like, oh, because you feel this way, you think this way, that your opinion is null and void. And I don't feel that should be the case. As long as people are not name calling and stuff like that, you're still trying to have a civil conversation, cool. And then you can, like, kind of like break bread with each other, and then just like agree to disagree and walk away from the table and come back a little later to try to hash out the differences or whatever, or just say that hey, you didn't like this, I did, and I didn't like this and you did, but it's all good. You know what I mean? Like, if people in any fandom, not just Star Wars, could do that, I honestly feel like fandoms would be a little bit more healthier when it's pertaining to our own views of what a fandom should and could look like or feel, because fans have a right to feel and believe what they have experienced with Star Wars and are expecting Star Wars to be for themselves, because of how they experienced it, whether it's the original, the prequels, even the sequels. People are allowed to feel how they feel, and there are people out there that love all 9 films. They're allowed to like them, they're allowed to love them, they're allowed to feel how they feel. And I personally just feel like I personally don't have a right to tell somebody not to like something that I don't. So, my hope for Andor, again, is that this is just a test run, that they will, even though they'll look at their numbers, they're going to still go run with season 2 and go from there. The hope, again, is that characters like Dedra, Miro will get her own show, or even the ISB themselves will get their own show. even after season 1, not so much as at the end of season 2. You have a ranking video for the movies? No, not yet. Though that video or videos will be coming. But I will say for sure, for my definite number 1, my favorite, because of how I grew up watching the shows. The movies. I grew up on the originals. Return of the Jedi is my number 1, and that's usually a lot of the fans pick. Some others pick Empire Strikes Back as their number 1, and that's totally fine. But for me, it was, I feel like too that some fans would feel that this moment within Return of the Jedi is when Luke goes to Jabba's palace and he's in the robe and he does his thing. That's what literally was just like eye-opening for me. And I'm like, yo, Luke's a Jedi. But technically he wasn't at the time. But, as a kid watching that, it was just like, man, like, this is just like the dopest thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, even up to this point where I'm at in my age, I can still sit down and rewatch the originals and be like, man, like, this is just like beautiful. But again, that's just me. And I will, I'm just being honest, guys. I will add the sequels in my ranking. I'm not gonna exclude them because I sat down and I watched all 3. I have my own mindset and feel for those 3 films. I think my responses to those 3 films are different than many other people's responses. But I will say I didn't like them that much. There were just things that they did for the sequels that I was just like, I don't like that. But I wasn't like, this sucks. Blah. Like I wasn't reacting like that. I wasn't reacting like I was gonna throw up. Like, I feel like that's a lot of people's reactions to the sequels. But I didn't specifically personally like the sequels. But they exist, and there are rumors that they are moving forward with bringing some of the sequel characters into new projects coming. So there's that as well. But as far as the channel for Star Review episode 10, and that led me to your feed. Great job, Craig Wilson. What's going on, dude? How are you? Thank you. Hope that glad that you enjoyed that video. Definitely, guys, for sure, just letting you know, because you're here, I will be doing a live watch party in several hours at 3 a.m. The stream will hopefully start at 3 a.m. On time, and it all depends on the how long the episode is, because basically I do have to work tomorrow. I start work at 5:30. I don't have a car. I have to catch a bus to work. So basically I leave at 4:30 to catch a bus to go to work in the morning. But I will, as always, like I always try to do when I work the day of an Andor episode, or pretty much any Star Wars thing, if something were to come on at 3 a.m., how they've been doing, I will definitely, as always, try my best to put a video out on the channel as fast as possible before I leave to go to work. There's just been a couple of times where I was like on the cusp of almost missing my bus, because I was able to just put the video together and just get it on the channel and just get the timing right. My laptop sucks. It's a cheap laptop, so that's why I'm saying, like, it still takes me roughly 30-40 minutes to really put one video together, just to get released out to the channel like 4 or 5 hours later. So but if you're up at 3 a.m. or 12 a.m. or whatever your time zone, and you're up, stop on by. We will do the live watch party of episode 11. however long that it is. Again, like I talked about, I predicted last week that episode 10 was going to be roughly 40 plus minutes long, and that indeed was the case. It was roughly like 43, 44 minutes in total. I'm going to guess and say that this one as well is going to be 40 plus minutes, roughly maybe 42, 43 minutes long. But I'm just curious and wondering if episode 10 is going to be able to, episode 11 is going to be able to actually top episode 10. Because as of right now, per what Andy Serkis did, per what Skarsgård did, like, they were the MVPs of episode 10. Just being freaking honest. You can technically kind of say, you know, Andy Serkis' character was really the MVP of episode 10. And Luthen's monologue just like blew the rest of it away. Man, just still remember that whole thing, just everything, just sheesh. That episode was just freaking beautiful, to be honest. It was almost perfect, to be honest. Like, probably was. As of right now, that episode is my favorite. I think at the time, episode 6 was my favorite. I want to say episode 4 too was originally my number one. But then episode 6 came along and kind of just like captured me more. Clones and Rebels got me back in the Star Wars universe after the prequels. Post up the watch party time on a comment somewhere so we can see. Let me join with you. Yeah, sure. So whatever your time zone. Now I'm on the East Coast. So I'm not sure about like the specific. If you're on the Pacific time, I think that's 3 hours prior. So I want to say 12 a.m. But again, like I said, I'm on the East Coast, so 3 a.m. is my usual specific time is when the show starts. Sometimes it starts sometimes they release episodes like for Star Wars and stuff, or even Marvel. They sometimes push them out like 10 minutes early, which is kind of great. But again, it all depends on if I can be able to start the actual stream on time. Because I want to try to, if they push episode 11 out at 2:50, that would be great. That 10 minutes can be crucial and key for me being able to have enough time to be able to get my video out on the channel. And I usually always do roughly 3 to 4 uploads after something comes out. That's my goal for now. I know that the channel is still fairly new. I should have had this channel up roughly a few years ago, but I actually have another channel where I do anime reactions, live stream discussions, anime topics and stuff like that. That one I've been doing for like 6 years now. But this channel, because again, Star Wars is my favorite fictional world, and then comes, next is anime. That because I finally got around to doing this channel, that the response to the videos have been great. Because I know at the end of the day, we are Star Wars fans at the end of the day, and my channel wouldn't be the channel that it is without you all watching the videos, being engaging. Because at the end of the day, I just want to have great conversations with you all. I want to see I want to be able to read your responses to the videos, kind of feel what you're feeling, see what you're thinking, because I am interested in other people's opinions, whether good or bad or indifferent. Just because, like I said, everybody has their own view of something, topic, characters, plots, stories, planets, everything. People have their own ways and look on the outlook, the diaspora of Star Wars. And we know that we sometimes use Star Wars or any other fandom as an escape from reality, because we need that break mentally. And watching Star Wars, reading the books, reading the comic books, listening to the audiobooks, this stuff when it's pertaining to Star Wars has helped me in such a way that, you know, I still can't put it down to this day. I just can't, because I love Star Wars so much. And I always talk about it. Grand Admiral Thrawn is my favorite non-Force user of all time. And I was hoping that he would at least had a mention in the Andor series. Now there was I want to say it looked like a Patarn in episode I think it was episode 8, when Cyril was at his job, and it was a specific blue-skinned person with some light up glasses at a desk a couple of rows over from Cyril. Yeah, my eyes kind of lit up a little bit. I was like, yo, is that a quote unquote Easter egg, or just a nod to Thrawn? I'm really excited to see him in live action form next year on the Ahsoka show. And I personally feel like, you know, Rosario Dawson has portrayed Ahsoka fairly well as the character. And if only I had the channel at the time, and y'all could have seen my reaction, because I was at work when I was watching the episode that when the Ahsoka character had said Grand Admiral Thrawn's name. I was at work. I was in a break area. There was this other worker in the room, and she said, you know, where's your master? Where's Grand Admiral Thrawn? And when she didn't even put the period on that question, she didn't put the question mark on that question, I jumped up out the seat. I was holding my breath because I didn't want to yell loud, but I got so excited, and I startled the worker in the break room. Y'all should have seen me. I was hyped up. I was just like, yo, they're bringing my homie Thrawn into live action form. This is dope. I can't wait. It will more than likely be the same reaction if they talked about Darth Bane, because that's another Force user that I really would love to see in live action form have a trilogy movie on per the books. You know, even if the books are like just referenced, I really just want to see Darth Bane in live action form. Him and Darth Zahn, I really do. Just being honest. Maybe that will happen, maybe not. But I was glad when they did at least brought him back and re-canonized him per the Clone Wars. Per the episode the conversation between him and Yoda. So yeah, guys. Any other thoughts on these topics of discussion for today? Any other thoughts? Any predictions for episode 11? Any predictions at all for the characters? Again, hopefully Kino will maybe still pop up in episode 11 in the morning tomorrow at some point. Give us a little bit of update. I'm still curious. It may not happen in this episode. I know I've talked about it in I think the last stream, the stream prior. Still curious about Cassian's sister. I still feel like he needs closure for Cassian's sister. I am not letting that go. I'm not letting that go. If they don't give Cassian any closure, if what Marva told him in episode 5, I think if I remember, where she said, you know, stop looking for your sister, nobody survived, blah blah blah. If that's the end that they gave his sister, I'm gonna be upset. Just being honest. Isaac says, I'm not familiar with Thrawn or Ahsoka, but I'm looking forward to the Acolyte. Nice. That's nice. I would say, you know, you can definitely read Ahsoka's book. And you can definitely check out the Clone Wars for sure. If that's your speed, if that's something that you feel like you can enjoy as far as the animated series. And they really flesh out the character throughout that series, including the final season 7. And Thrawn, you can always grab the books, and even the comics too, but you can definitely grab the books. The original from back in the 1990s, the original three, Heir to the Empire. Why am I losing my train of thought on my books here? The Dark Force Rising, and why am I losing my train of thought? Good thing for Google, because I'm losing my train of thought. I think I'm losing my train of thought too because I'm a little tired. Yeah, Dark Force Rising, The Last Command. If you want to check out those books, the original books, you could do that. And then, of course, the prequel books to the Thrawn Ascendancy prequel books, and including the non-trilogy books. I found out that those three, the one Thrawn, Alliances, and Treason, those books they were supposed to be a trilogy, but I have a Grand Admiral Thrawn group page on social media. If you want to go look it up on Facebook, it's there for you all to join us over there. If you're a Thrawn fan, if you're not a Thrawn fan, I'm the admin for that page. But the oh man, I'm losing my train of thought again. The books, like, even if you're not a Thrawn fan, you can at least check the books out, because somebody in the group said that for the books called Thrawn, Alliances, and Treason, Timothy Zahn, he was like waiting for Lucasfilm and them to give him a go on each book, so he couldn't put them as an actual trilogy, which I found interesting, because a member of my Grand Admiral Thrawn group sat down with him and talked to him about those three books, and Timothy Zahn told her that this technically isn't a trilogy. It's just we were just pushing the books out at the specific times that they needed to be, and they technically isn't an actual trilogy, which I just found very interesting. But I understand, because Zahn was just like, he was being kind of pressured a bit when he was writing those three books, so kind of just sucks. I have one crack. Isaac says one crack theory that Cinta is not Cassian's sister, but is from Kenari. She could be. I think somebody was saying something about somebody else being Cassian's sister, and I can't remember who it was and what they were talking about, that I found interesting. And I believe that the double agent will get busted. Think so? You think that Lonnie's going to get caught? That could be the case. Now that he goes back, because I am questioning too, because he guys, I'm telling you, I still got to do a video on that. Lonnie did, for me, I did not see Lonnie as a double agent. I did not see that at all. They did a great job with his character with that. I also got to do a video on Legret too, because I wanted to talk to him about. I wanted to talk about him. I think roughly about episode 4, episode 5, something like that, where I was just like, I kind of felt like his character was being pushed to the side, and he was just being shown as just somebody without a response verbally. Let's see. And that Vel knows she's from Kenari, just like how Bix knows Cassian from Kenari. And they do, they are lovers, so they would share that personal information with each other for sure. So maybe that could be the case as well. Gotta run, but wanted to say keep up with the channel. It's great stuff. Take care, man. Captain Drownsbury, thank you, dude. Appreciate it. I'm actually getting ready to end the stream in a minute anyway, because I'm getting kind of tired, and I'm gonna be going to bed in about maybe a half hour from now, 40 minutes, so I didn't sleep that much last night. I think I only got like 2-3 hours of sleep, something like that. Maybe 2 hours, maybe an hour and a half. I can't remember. But I'm hoping to be knocked out so I can be able to, when my alarm clock goes off, set for 2:20 to get me up and showered and ready for work, that I will be literally ready to just watch this episode with anybody that may pop into the stream with me at 3 a.m. to watch this next episode, last episode. But yeah, prediction from my end. Like I said, I feel like Kino may still pop up in the show. I believe we'll have actually showing Cassian and Melshi together moving forward from here. I feel like from this episode moving forward, they will be a constant duo of being together. I'm curious and wondering what Luthen will say next that can be a phenomenal some phenomenal scenes from him again, because his dialogue as a character has been just like tremendous. It's been dope, and I'm looking forward to seeing what his responses are per whomever that he's talking to, whoever it is. His facial expressions, what he's feeling, what he's thinking too. That's another thing. Like, what is he thinking before meeting with somebody? Even after he leaves from meeting them, what is Luthen thinking in his mind per these great scenes that he has? I'm curious about that. I really, really am. Dedra, I honestly feel like for her, I feel like she is still getting started on what she wants to do. They gave her some great breathing room to do some stuff over the past 2 episodes alone, but I feel like she's not done. And again, I'm hopeful that she will continue in season 2 and even get her own show. That's my hope. And definitely, like I said, I really truly hope that the ISB get their own show moving forward. Get their own Disney Plus show. That's my hope. And maybe Marvel will pop up in this episode this time, because they talked about her, they name dropped her, but they didn't show her. She may have maybe a couple of scenes. I want to say, like I said last week, from Friday's stream last week, and that's the other thing too. We will be doing a live discussion this Friday. I want to say around 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 4 or 5, it depends. It all depends on, because I have something important I gotta do Friday, but I should be good, because over the course of the next roughly 2 days, I'm going to be rewatching episode 11, grabbing the images per most of each scene, and then putting them together so I can be able to prepare for the stream. But Marva, I feel like Cassian will more than likely make it back to Marva, but she may already be gone by then, because she is sick. She's not taking her meds, all of that, per what the lady was telling the doctor. It's either he's gonna walk in either after she's gone or just before she passes away, but that's my prediction. But if Marva can survive, great, because I'm kind of curious about that underground tunnel that she went to, that she wasn't supposed to go to, and the reason why she's in the predicament that she's in right now. So I'm curious about that. And I think, because I originally thought that the Luthen was, when he was going to be flying his ship around fighting Imperial like ships and stuff like that, it's got TIE fighters and stuff, originally thought that scene per the trailer was going to be happening in last week's episode. Didn't. I have a feeling it might happen this episode. If definitely not this episode, definitely the finale for season 1, episode 12, next Wednesday. So we'll see. So I think that's all of my predictions. I think so. I'm I'm ready, guys. I can't wait. I really can't wait. But with that, guys, I'm out. Thanks for hanging, everybody. Isaac, Captain Drowsbury, Craig, J Money. I just got another subscriber on the channel, which is great. Yeah, everybody, thank you all for stopping by and chilling with me. It's real as always. Definitely hope you all have a good night or evening or morning, wherever you are in the world. Hope you and your family definitely continues to stay safe, stay humble, because you never know where the world and how life will treat you on either side of the spectrum. But with that, guys, I will hopefully talk to you all several hours from now if you can stop by the stream at 3 a.m. If not, it is all good. Just be on the lookout for my first video going out on the channel. Hopefully, I'll be able to get it out on time with my normal time, which is usually at like 9 a.m. in the morning. But yeah, definitely, Craig. Thanks, dude, for stopping by. But I'll talk to you all later. Enjoy the rest of your evening, noon, and night. And remember, the Force will be with you always.